Alright, in this lesson we're going to learn some basics of Photoshop. I already have Photoshop open. This is Photoshop CC, and the first thing you'll need to do is just close this little helper window, and we're going to start a new document. Now the documents we're going to make are going to be for average video or our digital signage, like the TV screen we have up in the front of the school. Either way, we're formatting it for a 720 high definition screen. What that means is we're 720 pixels. It's actually 1280 by 720, and that is sort of the lower end of high def. Alright, so first thing we'll do is we'll go File and New. When we select New, we have, let's start with the name, and this is going to be our colony ad. We'll just call it colony ad. And document type, go ahead and choose Web. From there, we have some artboard sizes, but it doesn't necessarily have the one we want in particular, so we're going to create our own. For width, we're going to type in 1280 and make sure this says pixels, and we want this to be 720. And this is what the main screen up in our digital signage is sized at, and it will work just fine full screen or as a smaller box. Alright, we don't have to do anything else here other. We'll leave the resolution at 72 and click OK. And that opens up, here we are, our artboard. Now yours may look slightly different because I may have a slightly different version than we have at school, and I'm on a Mac instead of a PC. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to create a background, and we're just going to do a simple, easy green background. Over here on the left here is your toolbar, all sorts of neat tools. Down here where there's two boxes, this is our foreground color and our background color. Clicking this little arrow here swaps the foreground and the background color, but we're just going to go ahead and click that foreground background color and choose a new color, and let's pick a colony green. So I'm kind of move my mouse around in this area until I find a green that I like, and that would be fine right there. So we'll click OK. Now we're just going to fill this whole artboard area with a box by clicking the box rectangle command on the toolbar. Now if I were to click and hold this, my mouse button for a moment, you can see I can change it from rectangle, a rounded rectangle tool, which has just rounded corners, an ellipse, polygon, line, so on and so forth. Or just by pressing the U button, we'll scroll between them. But the standard rectangle is fine. I just need to make this rectangle a little bit larger than my actual artboard, and the artboard is the part that we're actually going to be seen in the final document. Anything outside of the artboard won't be rendered when we save the final document. All right. So my properties panel opened up automatically. You can see we have chosen green, and this right here is my outline. And right now I'm just going to choose no outline, and that's fine. Not that it changes anything. Okay. Now I want to put a white bar across here so I can put some text. So I'm actually just going to go change this color swatch here and just move all the way up into the corner. I'll know it's white when the RGB here is 255 on all of them, or the hexadecimal color is FFFFFF, bunch of F's. And I'll click OK. And I want to keep the line, the background color, black. Alright, so we're going to build another text box, but this time up here I can change the fill color here as well, but I want to change the stroke, and I'm going to make it a solid color, and I want to choose black, and there should be some recently used colors here, or right there is fine. So now we have black. 3-point may not be big enough, but we can adjust this later. Well, let's bring it around 9 or 10 and see what happens. Now on this one I don't want to see the edges, so I'm going to start off the artboard, and I'm going to draw a box in the lower, say, third of the artboard, and that did not give me a background because my fill right here was set for green, and I should have changed that to white. So there we go, now we're at white. Now I'm thinking I wish that line, that border line, was a little bit bigger, so I'm going to actually come over here and make it a little bit thicker Still, it's something I like. That might be okay. But I'm also thinking that, wow, I wish this was a little bit thicker as a line altogether. So I'm clicking the Move Select tool up in the top, and then grabbing these little boxes, I can change the size of it by stretching. Now, as long as this is still active, I can do that. To finish this, I can hit the Enter button, or I can click this check mark there, and that sets that as an element. Take a look over on the right hand side. These are different layers of elements I have on my composition. Everything I put on here will be on a new layer. I can turn that layer on and off visibly by clicking on the eye. Alright, I like this where it is. Now if I wanted to move this, could not use the Move tool because no layers are selected. But just clicking on it does not seem to select a layer. So if that does it, click over on the Layer panel and that will select a layer, and then I can move things around. Notice this has the black border, but we're not using it. I'm going to go Control Z to undo that. Now the one thing about Photoshop is you can only undo one thing at a time. If you want to undo more than one, you'll have to go to Edit, Step Backwards. Now there's some other functionality that you can go back quicker, but we won't deal with that right now. Alright, next thing I want here is I want to put an image. So to place an image, I have the Colony High logo, and we'll have that on the Google Drive for you. You'll just need to download it before you use it. That's in another video. Click File, and we have two options, Place Embedded or Place Linked. Now if you choose Place Linked, you have to always have the file of the image that you're placing on your hard drive where you got it from. If you move it or delete it, it will be looking for that for the image, and it'll say, whoa, I can't find this. For today, and that saves on a little bit of memory and file size, but for today we're going to click Place Embedded, and that basically makes a copy to put it in the document. And this is going to pop up. Well, you can see I've been working on the State Fair. On my desktop, however, I have a folder, Photoshop Lesson 1, and in here I have two images. We'll start with the Colony logo. It is a PNG. The great thing about a PNG is you can have a transparency layer, which means the background can be see-through. Alright, so put it in at the height of my image here, but that's too big. So I want to grab it, make it smaller. I'm just going to move my mouse to the corner here. Now, when I click and drag, notice I can change the aspect ratio, and I don't want to do that. So to lock the aspect ratio in, if I push the Shift button, notice it automatically stays the height and width proportionally. So make sure you just let go of the mouse button before you let go of the Shift button. From here, I can move this around and place it where I want. So there's my Colony High logo. When I'm done, hit the Enter button, or click the check, which is now gone. Now, after that's done, if I want to move this thing around some more, it's like, it moves around. But right there in the middle, I accidentally grabbed this little round thing here. Well, it looks like a little target, crosshairs. What that is that is the center point of where it would rotate. If I want to rotate this, all I got to do is move my mouse around the corner, and you'll see that the arrows change. If I get that little that rounded arrow thing, it will rotate, and wherever it will rotate around that little crosshair thing. Okay, I'm going to go Control Z. If I move that crosshair thing back into the center, it'll rotate around the center. Alright, that's just a handy little tool. I don't want to rotate it, so Control Z, I'm out of there. I'm clicking in the blank area here to deselect that. Now that that's deselected, I can't select it or move it. I have to select it back in the panels here, and now again I can move it around. I can resize it. Make sure you hold the Shift button and place it where I like. I never want to place a graphic right here on the edge. It looks sloppy that way. It doesn't want to have to hug that corner. I'm going to kind of center it so I have a good amount of space on both the top and the side, and I can have a little bit more on the bottom and it still look balanced well. Alright, now we're going to add one more image. I'm going to go File, we're going to Embed, And I'm going to take this young student here, thinking. And I can double click, click place, and yep, she pops right in there. Let's move her into place here. I'm going to have her sitting on this black line. So I will hold the shift button and move her, and I'm going to have her move her just a little bit on that black line. Now when I click OK, that looks okay, except for it looks a little funny with this covering that black line. So I would rather have this bar on top of that. So I can actually rearrange my layers here very easily by taking the rectangle, and let's just drag it above the picture, and you notice now that picture is below this bar. Now the other thing I don't like is we have this white background here, and I don't really want this white background. It looks very blocky. So let's see what we can do to get rid of that. When I can go to the select function here, or actually no, I'm going to use this magic wand here. These tools over here, I have several selection tools. I have this marquee tool, which looks like little marching ants. I have the magic lasso, which is a very cool tool, but we're not going to use that. We're going to use this one here because we have a nice clean white background, the magic wand. With that magic wand, all I need to do is click in the white area, and it's going to select all the similar pixels. Now since they're all white, it picks that very easily. All I have to do is hit the delete button. Oh, but it's not going to work. It says cannot complete your request because the smart object is not directly editable. So I want that to be editable. So what I'm going to do is go to this layer, the layer command, and I'm going to go down. I'm going to rasterize this as a smart object. Now let's see if it works. I hit the delete button and it disappears, except for I have this little bit of white right in here. So I still have my magic wand. I'm just going to click in the white area there, and that selects that white area. Now it kept the marquee around here because up in the top there are 4 different functions on how to select groups of pixels. If I put this on the first one, which when you hover over it, it says new selection. Every time I click somewhere, it will deselect what was selected and reselect something new. All right, and notice I selected the part of the book down here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to zoom in by holding my control and use my plus button. Whoops, I can also use that with my mouse apparently. And then move over. Now I want to deselect the part of the book because it was just too close in the color pixels here to the white. So over here on the third button, subtract from selection, I can choose that, and I'm just going to choose this little section. No pixels are more than 50% selected. It will not be visible. Okay, so let's go back to here and try selecting the white. Now that doesn't work again, so let's try another function. The quick selection tool is a nice way to sort of paint a selection, so I'm going to click that from the magic wand and make sure that I am on the deselect function, and now I can just sort of paint in here just by touching some of these lines, and it looks like I might have, let's hit the delete. Nope, I only had a little area on the side, so I'm going to go ahead and click the plus, and we're going to add to this selection. That looks good. Delete, and that disappears there. Okay, so to get rid of my little dancing ants there, I'm going to go to select and deselect layers. Yes, boom, and oops, I'm sorry, deselect, not deselect layers, just deselect. Okay, and that makes that disappear. Alright, so let's zoom out by using my control minus sign. Now I have my girl here, and all I need to do is add a message. So what's my message going to be? Well, let's go click on the T here for the text, and I can do a couple things. I can just click and it'll start a box, or I can click and drag and create a text box of any size I want. Don't worry about it if it's not quite lined up right. So this message will be need help. Oh, wait, I'm typing, but you can't see anything. And that's because if I look up at the top, whenever you have something selected, you'll have some information about that selection. My color is white, and I don't want that. So I'm going to highlight that. We're going to change this color. Let's just color it green. All right, so by clicking on the green here, it changes it. But I don't like that green. I'm going to click on this darker green. Now I have a darker green. Cool. Need help. Need help. NHS is here to save the day with free with free tutoring. All right, so that's kind of long. Maybe I don't like that. Need help? Let's try this. Need help? Question mark. Schedule. Peer help with NHS. All right, National Honor Society. Now, let's highlight this here because I don't really like the font that's being used, and we're going to go for something else. How about, I actually like this. Rockwell's not bad, but you can put anything in there, and it's not big enough. So up on the top, I have my text. It says 37 points. I can go up to maybe 48 or 60 points. Alternately, if I hover over the T, I can just slide my mouse back and forth until I get the size I like. All right, boom. Okay, so that's not bad. I have this big bunch of blank space though, and maybe this needs to be filled with something. So let's go ahead and add another text. And what I'm going to do now is it's probably too dark of a green, but that's okay. Let's just put it down here, and I'm going to move the need help here. Need, and I want to put on 2 lines. Need help. All right, and let's go ahead, highlight it, and we'll start making it larger. Boom, and don't like the color, so we'll go ahead, I'm just going to make that white to keep my color palette simple, and to make sure that we're centered. Now, when I click the check mark, boom, need help. Let's go down here, get rid of need help, schedule pure help. It automatically centers because the center is on, and I have my document. This would be a great little ad for National Honor Society that we could use to put on our digital signage right there. Let's say, however, I wanted to have a border on it. We could go and click my box. I'm going to start a little bit on the inside, and I'm going to pull this through and try to keep that on the inside. Now, since I had white as my fill, and I want to make black my stroke, which is the line around the back, okay, and I think it needs to be larger in 3 points, so we're going to build this so it has a nice border, okay, and then on the fill, I'm actually going to turn that off so there is no fill. All right, now from here I have some decisions to make. I certainly don't like it on top of the white line, so I can move this underneath the rectangle, see if I like that. And you'll also notice that there is a green box around it. Let's deselect that. Maybe I don't like that either. So let's take our rectangle here, and I can bring it up just until it's at the edge. Bring it up here to the edge. And now accept it and click here to see what that looks like. Alright, well that might be a little bit more interesting. I can play with it and decide which way I like it, if I want this black bar on here or not, simply by moving my rectangle on top or back bottom. I'm going to just go ahead and leave it like this. I think it's a little bit interesting having that there. Now let's say I need to export this now. So we're going to do a couple things. First of all, always save your file. So just click Save or Save As, and I will give it its default colony add. It's a PSD Photoshop document is what it stands for. So I will click Save. Alright, now I want to export it for something else because the Photoshop document's not going to work very well on my digital signage. So I will go File, and I got a couple of options here. Let's go to the Save As, and under Save As, I'll change the format here. We can do a JPEG, the GIF file, or what I prefer is the PNG. So let's click the PNG file, and we'll just click Save there. Compression, smallest slow, none fast. We'll go smallest slow, interlaced, no interlacing. That has to do with video. And now I have a PNG. If I go to my what would be my Explorer Finder window, you'll see I have the PNG file and the PSD file. The PNG file is 472 kilobytes, not even a megabyte, where the PSD is 2.5 megabytes. So obviously this is a much smaller file format, and there it is, my final file. You want to take this and submit it to the Google Classroom as your assignment. Then go ahead and try making another one of your own. Find an image on the internet and choose a background and a simple message, something that would work here at Colony High School. Alright, I know I went a little bit fast on this, but that's because you can rewind and pause if you need to. And good luck with the lesson.